Hey everyone, it's Mario. Thanks for joining me. I haven't done a chicken drumstick video in a while, and there's a reason for that. The Purdue chicken drumsticks I've been getting from BJ's, I haven't been happy with it lately. So what did I do? I went out and I bought some Purdue chicken from BJ's. However, these were raised cage free chicken drumsticks from BJ's from Kentucky. So what other way to cook these raised cage-free chicken drumsticks from Kentucky with, Kentucky Kernel seasoned flour. So stick around. So here it is, Purdue harvested chicken drumsticks, raised cage-free in Kentucky. So it's air-chilled, no water added, and I've heard some good things, so let's hope for the best. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to package these, rinse them off, pat them dry, and then we're going to start coating. Okay, so what I got here is the chicken that I rinsed. I already cracked the eggs, scrambled them up, and they're all dipped in eggs, and that's the plate I'm going to dump the drumsticks in as I flour them. And I already got my Kentucky Kernel seasoned flour in the bowl because that's the way I like to mix it. So let's get started with that. Take the advice of one of my viewers and just use the tongs in here so I can keep from having to wash my hands every 10 seconds, so it seems. We are going to coat these several times, so I'm not worried about putting too much flour in there right now. There we go. Those are nice and bright. And as they sit, as per usual, these will appear to be more yellow and yellow as time goes on because the moisture is going to absorb some of that flour. One thing I didn't know until a couple, 2-3 years ago maybe, was eggs. When we crack them, we see like a yellow egg. However, these are free-range chickens, so the eggs that come from them, they're eating a lot of the bugs and stuff out there, so they're actually more of a bright orange, and I hear even sometimes almost a red in color. I've never seen them myself, but I guess I could pop on YouTube or the Google and see. And here is one of the drumsticks powdered up. You see that's nice and bright white. And if you look at some of the older ones that I powdered just a couple of minutes ago, they're already yellowing. Okay, this needs to sit for about 5 minutes, and we're going to come back and recoat them, and we'll repeat that process again. And when we're done, we'll stick these in the refrigerator or the freezer for about a half an hour. Okay, 5 minutes has passed, and you see what's going on there? A lot of that is yellowed out, and the flour is harder to see. So let's add coat number 2. Now while we're doing this, I want to repeat this, and I've said it in every video except for this one so far, is you really need to make sure you put this in the refrigerator for that extra half hour once you're done with all your coats. And the reason being is if you do not do that and you put this on your air fryer, it's gonna blow all of that flour off the chicken. Now if you were just gonna stick it in your oven and bake it, that's a different story, but you got to make sure. Again, you can if you're gonna do this a half an hour before you cook it, stick it in the freezer. I'm doing this in advance a couple of hours, so I can stick it in the fridge if I want. All depends where you have space for it. Again, just to show you the difference in color here. I've been known to put as many as 4 coats on chicken. You could put on 1, 2, or 3 is probably enough, but I found that the more the merrier. Okay, coat number 2 is now done. We'll come back in another 5 minutes and see how they look. Okay, here we go. 5 minutes later after the second coat. They're not as yellowish as they were after the first coat, but we are going to give it a third coat. And there we have coat number 3. We're going to come back in 5 more minutes and see if we need that 4th coat. Okay, the 3rd coat actually looks really good. However, there is some flour left in the container, so I am going to use what's left. And there is our coat number 4. Now, I can't stress this enough. You need to put this in the refrigerator for 30 minutes or in the freezer, wherever you have room. If you do not, when you use a can of air oil spray, it is going to blow the flour off the chicken. Also, the fan from your air fryer will blow the flour off the chicken. Do not skip the step. Put this in the refrigerator for 30 minutes. Not this, that. We interrupt this video for a special announcement. Whenever you're flouring chicken, pork chops, whatever it is you're doing, you really need to pay attention. After you coat that with flour, you give it that 5 minutes wait because the white flour will start to yellow, and you keep doing that. You coat it, wait 5 minutes, coat it, wait until it stays that bright white. The most important step is to make sure you put that in the refrigerator or the freezer for a half an hour. If you don't, what's going to end up happening is when you go to spray it with your Evo spray or whatever you're using, or you pop it in the air fryer, that high spinning fan, it's going to blow the flour off the chicken or the pork chop or whatever it is you're cooking. The idea behind freezing it or refrigerating it is it helps it stick better. So, make sure you do that. And another note is, as some of you know, I do have a new Facebook, Instagram, Twitter account. The old ones were shut down by Facebook, yada yada. So please check over and subscribe to those as well. The links are in the description below. And you will see me post my regular meals there that you will not see on video. So that being said, let's get back to the video. Normally I do regular Idaho potatoes, but I picked myself up some red potatoes. So let's get those cut up. Now we need to rinse these off and let them soak for a little bit, dry them off, and then we can season them. Okay, gonna add a little Evo, some salt. This is pink Himalayan salt. Pepper, some granulated garlic, and I'm gonna add some rosemary leaves. And now we mix this up really well. And now we cook. Spray the pan a little. Now you may be saying to yourself, Mario, that's far too much chicken and potatoes to fit in that 5.8 quart air fryer. Well, you're right. We are going to make this a competition. We are also going to cook some in the Breville. Normally I would only put about 3 or 4 drumsticks in here with some potatoes. If I was just putting drumsticks, I could get maybe 5 in there. So I'm going to put 3 in there right now and throw in a handful of potatoes. Now, if I was cooking this in the oven, this would take 45 minutes to an hour to cook what you see here. The air fryer is not going to take as long, but you can expect it to take half that time, depending on, the size of the chicken. And once in a while, even Mario forgets to say or tell you or do something. Make sure when you are prepping this chicken that you grab a knife and you go through the meatiest part of the chicken and cut through. This will help the chicken cut evenly. That is a super important step that I forgot to mention. Now let's spray down the chicken. And let's get this in the air fryer. I know I haven't shown this feature in a while, but this has settings for fries, pork, shrimp, cupcakes or cake, chicken, which is 380, steak, and fish. I don't use this anymore because I'm used to the settings, but just to show you, 380 at 20 minutes. We're going to start with that. Okay, let's get the rest of this chicken going. And let's see if we can fit all these potatoes in here. If not, we make it fit. And now, let's get this in the Breville. I got the Breville set at 400. It is set for 25 minutes. We're going to check this in about 15. Same with the air fryer. Today, I'm forgetting everything. Don't forget to spray the top of the chicken with Evo. Even I can have a bad day with the air fryer. I missed a couple of things that I forgot to mention, and I did off camera. With the drumstick, you have the bone arm and the meat of the stick. You need to get a knife and cut into that drumstick, the meatiest portion of that, and create a slit in it. That's going to help it cook more evenly. If you don't do that, it's going to be, dry on the inside when it's cooked properly. Now back to our regularly scheduled program. Okay, this has been going 15 minutes. Let's take a quick look. Looking pretty good there. So I am going to turn the chicken. And before I turn it, I'm just going to give it a quick spritz of oil. Now, just the one thing about the oil, you see those white spots there? That's because there's no oil. If you were to forget to spritz the seasoned flour or breadcrumbs, it would not look cooked. So you want to make sure you spray those. The potatoes are looking pretty good. They don't take as long to cook as the chicken. So again, I'm gonna wet down the chicken. That looks pretty good. Let's get that back in. And this has been in there for 15 minutes. It says 5 minutes left on the timer. I'm gonna push that up to 7 minutes. Kind of goofed up the timer there. So this will be a total of 22 minutes when all is said and done, and then we'll check it and do a temperature check. Okay, let's check the Breville chicken. That looks pretty good too. So again, I'm gonna spritz the chicken. There are some white spots. And now we're gonna turn it. Now this is a little more crammed, so it's gonna cook quite a bit differently for a couple of reasons. The Breville doesn't cook like an air fryer, it cooks more like an oven. And it's more packed. So those two things combined will mean it's going to take longer to cook in general. Another mention with the Breville is it does have a hot spot, so during the first half time of cooking, you should spin this around. Okay, so let's get the spray down. Anywhere that it's white. It's going to be tough to mix up the potatoes here, but we'll do our best to do that. Now let's get this back in. And we're gonna let this go probably at least another 10 minutes. Okay, let's give this a check. And that looks pretty awesome. Now the package with the chicken, and I've never seen this before, was pretty specific and said cook to 180 degrees. So I'm gonna pick the fattest piece of chicken here and see what I got here for a temperature. Perfect. Now let's transfer this to a plate. Look at that. Don't forget to unplug the air fryer, folks. Let's give a potato a try here. That is hot. That's a good potato. So again, that was extra virgin olive oil, salt, pepper, garlic powder, and rosemary leaves. Now for the chicken. Look at that. This is going to be really hot. And really good. Skin the best part with the Kentucky Kernel. Moist and juicy inside. And like KFC, finger licking good. Now for the Breville. Oop. Perfect timing. Let's check out this awesomeness. Look at that. Now let's get some of this in a plate. Grab this one. And this one. And of course, some of those fries. Roasted potatoes, we'll call it. Now this is the Breville. Now the Breville takes longer, and the chicken usually isn't as crisp looking or tasting. However, it's always good. Try potato first. Same with the potatoes. They don't have that crisp factor. Still good. Try a piece of that chicken. This is going to be super hot. Ooh! That is hot. That was pretty good, I will say. The air fryer, sorry to say, always does it best. The oven does an excellent job too, but we didn't do that today. So a couple of things. As you know, the air fryer will do it faster, in my opinion, better. But they both came out excellent. Just plan to spend a little more time with the Breville cooking. I would say a good 10 minutes. The GoWISE was 380, probably 27 minutes, 28 minutes, where the Breville was probably 10 minutes more than that. Anyway, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Please consider subscribing, hit the notification bell so you know when I put out a new video, and I'll see you on the next one. Thanks a lot.